I think we're live. Well,
Yes.
hello, hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
It's me again. So sorry we're a little bit late, but Lady Nerissa and I are going to talk tonight about the relationships that we have with our parents. And I think that should be a pretty nice conversation, don't you?
Interesting.
Interesting conversation. All right. I'm waiting for you to connect live here so that
Yes, I already have like two people in my life.
all right. It's not showing up on my end yet for whatever reason. So I'm going to go back out and go back in. Oh, there we are. All right. So, request to join.
Yes, we're
All right.
live.
Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. All right, everyone. All right. We're good to go. All right. Hello. Happy Monday. It's Great Minds. We got all our technical difficulties taken care of. We are here on Facebook. We're also on my YouTube channel live, and we're on IG. And so Nerissa and I are going to talk tonight about the relationships that we have with our parents. And that conversation should be a pretty live, interesting one. So if you are on with us, please, please, please engage. It's very nice to hear your comments, see your comments, and be able to share them on the screen. So, what's your relationship with your parents? And we're going pretty short today. We're going in for 30 minutes today. So, we're going to make it pretty packed and interesting.
Right.
And so, Nerissa, you chose that subject once again. It was you who wanted that subject of the relationship with your parents. Tell us why.
Let's talk about our parents. For me, that is a very interesting relationship that I have with my parents. It's like we are like two or three generations, meaning in age. So we have a lot of how would I say this, differences. And as we grow, we start seeing things in our lens. So for example, we saw our fathers as like a superman until you reach 20 and you and your mom is having a conversation and then she's telling you all of those things. I was like, what? No, my dad did not do that. And my mom and my dad are still together. But I'm just saying, you always see, and my mom, she always says that my sister and I, we always choose our father. Like when we were younger, we were my mom stays home with us, and if my father had to do a job out of Kingston, he would go away for like probably a day or so, and we would cry like we want our father, and my mom would be like, what am I, chopped liver, like I'm here taking care of you. He's not here, so it's very interesting. My parents like had me in their 40s, 40, 39, 40 something for my mom. And everybody usually say, that's your grandma? I was like, no, that's my mom. But it was quite interesting growing up with older parents. So I have very older parents than the average person. So yes. So my
Well,
relationship, go ahead.
go ahead. No, you go.
So my relationship with them is it's okay. As I grow older, I think I see things different from when I was younger. you know,
Yeah.
and sometimes it gets mistaken that you're trying to, be wayward with things, but it's not that you're wayward, it's just that you have your own personality and you have to be you. You were on this earth 70 years. I'm only on this earth 30. Let me live my years. So yes, so it was quite interesting.
Well, I like this topic for a lot of reasons because it is from the work I do with being a hypnotherapist and life coaching, a lot of the imprints and the issues that I find that a lot of my clients have, especially when it comes to when I do hypnotherapy and it really gets to the root of their issues, stems from their parents. And
Mm-hmm.
so there was something that you said that was really interesting. It's that we look at our parents through different lenses, through different
As we
stages of
grow,
our lives.
right?
So when you're younger,
Mm-hmm.
we look up to our parents and we see them as our heroes or
Mm-hmm.
sheroes, right? Hey,
Right.
Raymond. Hey, Ryan. So we see our parents as our sheroes and our heroes, and we see them. You have to think in size. So you're a little girl and you see
Mm-hmm.
these people who are responsible for you, and those are the people that you've seen all your life. And therefore, they become like a marker, like a
Mm-hmm.
cornerstone for you.
Right.
And so, the biggest thing that I've noticed, not just with myself, but with clients and people who I've worked with, is that as they get older, the cape that they gave to their parents,
Mm-hmm.
they're realizing that they are no superwoman, no Superman.
Exactly.
They're none of that.
Mm-hmm.
They start seeing them as real people. They
Real
start,
people
yes,
with
humans
flaws, a
with
lot
a
of
lots of
flaws.
imperfection, right? Lots of imperfection. So they start seeing these human beings
Mm-hmm.
with flaws and lots of imperfections, and these are the people that they used to look up to. And
Mm-hmm.
hi, IG, we're in IG, we're in
Hey.
Facebook, interact with us. What's your relationship with your parents? When did you realize they were not perfect? When did you realize that these are human beings with flaws? Because when the problem that a lot of us have as adults right now is we're walking around still holding on to the disappointment
Mm-hmm.
that we felt when we realized that our parents were not heroes, when we realized that even Superman have flaws, because
Right.
kryptonite is going to knock him out. Yeah. Okay.
Correct. And cousin, I have a friend, T Baby.
Hmm.
She says when she was a teenager, she found that out. Well, for me, I was like 20 something.
Yeah. Yeah. And but you see, I was a teenager when I realized my parents weren't perfect.
Okay.
And I was a young teen, and it shaped my life. It shaped my life. Some of
Mm-hmm.
it I held on to, and it shaped my life negatively, and some of it I use as a motivator, and it shaped my life
Mm-hmm.
positively. So we're talking about a relationship with our parents. We're going to pack it into 30 minutes. But one of the things that my hope is to walk away with is really understanding, maybe not in 30 minutes, but start
Mm-hmm.
to really think about how did the relationship with your parents shape your life? Right? She said that's why
Mm-hmm.
some teenagers are rebellious. Absolutely. How did your relationship with your parents shape your life? How did the relationship with your parents made you who you are today? Let's see what Raymond has to say. Raymel, actually, not Raymond. Raymel has to say. It took me doing the work on myself to really understand that I held on to this image that I wasn't enough because they both weren't in my life growing up, and even to this day. But I have released that anger with love and forgiveness. And now know that they only gave me what they knew. I love that. That's a comment from one of my Facebook buddies, Ray Mel. And bottom line is, what he's saying is, it affected his life. It affected the image he has of himself. It affected all of who he thought he was, because they were not present. And I had the same issue, Ramel. So I can tell you that I know that story very well. My parents weren't present for the first 14 years of my life. And so it does make a difference. But the thing is, when you get older, so even at that point as a teenager, you're still looking for something.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're not getting it, to Queen T Baby on IG, she said that's how we get rebellious teenagers, because now they're looking for something that they can't get. But here's the point, guys. Our parents are not the heroes we thought they were. They're heroes in some ways because they nurture us, they gave birth to us, they nurtured us, and they gave us what they were capable of giving by way of love, by way of things. I mean, it's like any other relationship you have, right? You may have a romantic relationship that person is not capable of giving certain things. It's no different. And so what I started doing was I started looking at my parents as a vessel. And I don't mean that in any negative connotation in any way, shape, or form, but they are the way we ended up on this earth. They are a vessel to us being here and being present. So my dad will make you laugh. And by the way, my father is Nerissa's uncle. So your uncle would probably have you laughing, because every Father's Day or his birthday, I thank him for being the part of the reason I am on this earth. So regardless of all of what I felt and any disappointments that I may have had, if you're out there, comment, what disappointments have you had because you thought your parents were heroes with a cape and found out that they didn't? But regardless of what disappointments I had, I still look at them as vessels, right?
Right.
And I have another question. Which parent, or is that one parent in your world, if you're out there and you can tell me this too, cousin, that you most felt like the cape is not real? Which parent was it, when you recognized that, wow, I was looking at this person up here and now I'm realizing that they are really just human beings?
My dad.
Yeah.
Your uncle.
My uncle.
Yes. Yes. And before I answer, Tiana, T-Baby, she says it's heartbreaking when you're disappointed by a parent, and it was her dad for her. It was my father, for many, many, many reasons. And one, most of it was put in my head because of my mom. And I guess it wasn't a bad thing, because my parents, they're still together, and they love each other dearly. But I was about to make a decision, and my mom wanted me to know that, listen, if this is the decision you're going to make, I just want to let you know something about your father, so that when you're making this decision, you don't think that, you're going to try to get somebody that's just like your father, because guess what? He's not that hero you thought he is. And so she told me all of those things. And I know I was in my 20s, but it hurts. It was like, what? He did what? When? And, it was just like, it was so crazy. I was like, my father did not do that. And it took me a while to come to grip with what my father told me, what my mother told me about my father.
See, the reality of looking at a hero, you remember when you watched Superman for the very first time, and he
Right.
ran across the kryptonite. And remember, in the beginning of the movie, I love Superman, so that's why I'm using that particular hero. But in the beginning of the movie, everything was he was just saving people and doing this and doing that, and everything was just fantastic. And then by the movie went on, he ran across some kryptonite, it weakened him, and all of a sudden the things that he could do, he couldn't do anymore. And then you start feeling, you remember that gut-wrenching feeling of watching Superman and the kryptonite knocked him out. And you remember in Wakanda Forever, you remember when our guy got beaten down, and we were just like, oh my God, the hero is actually down. Like, whose hero goes down? All of our heroes go down at some point, okay? Especially our parents, because what we must recognize is they are going by what they were taught, how they were taught. They are doing things from a human perspective. And yes, Ryan, your comment was, that's an excellent way to look at it. They're vessels for us being on earth. Yes, they are. And I thank my daddy. My daddy is my guy that I talk, that spiritual talk with all the time, and I thank him all the time. Thank you so much. His birthday is more about thank you for being on this earth, so you can create me, so I could be on this earth.
Conduit.
Exactly. And so they are vessels. Nobody promised us that they were perfect vessels. As a matter of fact, there were no contract that came with our parents, as they didn't have a contract that came with us. The only contract we have between us and our parents is our source. Whatever created us, our God, that's the contract. And so I think the more that we start seeing them as humans with flaws, heroes that have their own kryptonite, then we will be able to reframe what makes us disappointed in them. And sometimes that hurt feeling, even overcoming your failures makes us stronger and stronger heroes. Absolutely. Petty Post said that. Yes, overcoming our failures make us stronger and stronger heroes. So we have to be very careful about putting this expectation. So my
putting them on the pedestal.
Yes, because when you put a man on a pedestal, what's going to happen? It's not a god, right?
He's gonna fall, I guess. I don't know.
Something is gonna happen. So
and T Baby had said earlier that we have to learn from their mistakes so we don't make the same mistake for our own children. And she also said you normally don't understand until adulthood that parents can't be perfect. And of course, it's going to be so hard for us to think otherwise. We're children,
Yes. And it's when you have your own kids, like I do, and cousin, you're not there yet, but you know that disappointment that you felt when you heard what you heard. When you have your own children and you realize that all the steps that you're trying to take, that you want to take, you're not going to necessarily be able to take them in that perfect order. That's when you're going to recognize that, wow, okay, maybe it is okay that he made those mistakes. My parents made many mistakes. The hardest, toughest relationship I had with any parent is with my mother. And my father's relationship was tough at first. I think it went through a really rough time, your uncle. And then I was able to mend that and mend it in a way where, we just have the coolest. I just think our relationship is the coolest. But here's the problem. The problem is women, girls, and their mothers is sometimes the toughest relationships to understand and mend. Let's see what Raymel said. For me, it was my mother. I remember at the age of 13, I tried to protect her from her husband that was abusing her. And she told me I had to leave because that was her husband and he wasn't going anywhere. At that moment, I looked at her differently and our relationship changed. I'm so sorry that
I'm
that
so sorry to
experience,
hear. My apologies on that.
that experience happened to you, my friend, because, but I do have to share. So Raymel had an incident where the mom picked the husband over him, and he was her son. He is
Right.
her son.
He is and always will be.
And always will be. But she was your vessel. And the reason why you took that so hard is because you had expectations of her as a mother. And remember, when we are born, there is not a list of expectations that's written out at the hospital room.
Our criteria are for them to become parents. There's no criteria. They just
there are no criteria. Don't be sorry to help me become who. And I love who you are.
Congratulations on that.
I love who Raymel is today. Raymel says, "Don't be sorry. It helped him to become the person he is today." And with that, I have to say this: every single imprint in our lives helps us to become who we are today. And if any of you have ever gone through therapy or any type of counseling, some of the hardest conversations you've ever had with that counselor, that minister, or whomever was giving you counsel, that therapist, that doctor, is the relationship that you had with your parents. We all come with some sort of mommy issues or daddy issues. And I see it every day, all day. And I myself struggled with mommy issues and daddy issues for many, many, many moons of my life, until I came to the realization that my favorite superhero had kryptonite, right? And it was almost like an epiphany, where I was like, but hold on. If somebody that I say has a cape on, and this was as an adult, don't think this came to me as a child. I was a grown adult with many decades when I realized that they are human beings with imperfections that were probably trying to figure it out as they went. Yes. And as they were going along the way, they were trying to figure it out. And then there was a time probably in their lives that them being a parent scared the bejesus out of them. Like, holy bleep, I'm a parent. I can't do this.
Right.
So it is very important that we take a step back whenever we find those imprints of what our parents did, how our parents did it, why do we feel the way we feel, that we take a step back and truly recognize that they were only doing what they know at the time. Okay? There's so many people out there with mommy and daddy issues, so many. Ryan says, yes, the energy / transformational spirit being that you are today, and so much more. And I think he was speaking to Raymel.
Yeah.
And Ryan also said, clearly for me was my mother, since that was the only parent I knew and know. And so there are so many people out there who are still searching for love from their parents, or parents, or even searching for their parents. And in that search, it becomes a lifelong struggle where they don't feel like they're enough. They don't feel like they're deserving. They think love is not available to them, and all of these things. But if you can look at it as your parents were only vessels, only vessels. And I don't mean that in a negative way at all. Only vessels. I am a parent. I was a vessel that was selected to bring to this earth my child. And so she owes me absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
My baby girl will owe me nothing. I brought her onto this world because I was chosen to bring her onto this world. I will nurture her to become the woman that God wants her to be. I will nurture her to be able to give back to this earth in a positive, kind, compassionate way.
Right.
But she owes me absolutely nothing. I was the vessel. And
only a vessel.
Only a vessel. And to the person who said we learn from our parents, then I am now doing a different, I'm flipping the script, turning it upside down, changing the narrative, and I am looking to be the best vessel ever, if that makes sense.
Right. And T Baby says that a lot of parents believe the opposite, and that is so true. That we as children are indebted to them. Like we owe them, or owe them something. And yes, so parents out there, just be reminded you were only a vessel, and as my cousin says, in no bad way, no bad connotation or anything like that, you were just a vessel. All right. And
we don't owe. We should not expect our children to owe us. And I'm speaking as a parent. Don't think I'm just speaking as a child of, with a mommy and a daddy. I'm speaking as a mom who gave birth and a mother who will always know that God chose me to bring this child onto this earth, and I need to do my very best. I'm not perfect in any way, shape, or form. And I make sure that my daughter knows that I'm not perfect, honey. I'm going to make mistakes. Please, I say that. She's 11 and she hears me say, I'm going to make mistakes. Please catch me when mommy make a mistake. Catch me when mommy makes you feel uncomfortable. When you something about what mommy is doing or saying is making you feel uncomfortable. Or what?
Or wearing.
Yes. Ryan says, I'm not searching for no one but myself. Yes, who Ryan is and what God called me to be and to do as a vessel. So as people go out, and I have relatives that, are still searching to know who the heck their parents are, who's their father and all of that. And it becomes as if they're missing a piece of who they truly are. And I do believe that it's very sad and unfortunate when people cannot connect who they are with their parents. However, to Ryan's point, I believe that the only search we should be doing is a search for who we are as individuals. And if we can do what Ryan is claiming to be the thing that God asked him to be, is to search for who he truly is, not necessarily go searching for the gene pool and the DNA that brought us into this world. And so I really, really praise that. And I have to say kudos to you, Ryan, for searching for the better person you are, not searching for a parent.
Right.
Erica says it's important to mend and sow your relationship with your parents as adults now. My father died before we could heal each other. Thank you for bringing that up. That is very important. So Erica says it's important to mend and sow your relationship with your parents as an adult now. My father died before we could heal each other. Note, she said, before we could heal each other.
All right. You're going to go ahead and say?
Sorry.
Kim to the one, she says, when we say "oh," what exactly do we mean? Because I see "oh" as respect and to show gratitude. And yes, we owe them that. Yes. But to the extent where it seems as if, listen, you are here because of me. And I don't know if you're from the Caribbean, but some parents are like, I brought you here and I can take you out, Yeah. So yes, we owe them the respect and the gratitude because yes, they're our parents. Even the Bible tells us the Bible says, children, obey your parents
Honor
in the
your
Lord, for
parents
this
so that
is
your days
right.
may
You
be
know,
long.
but
Yes.
in the same breath, it says that parents provoke not your children to wrath. So,
Yes.
you know, we have to, you know, T
Queen
baby,
Baby.
be more specific. When you say financially, is it that
She's saying
we're
we don't owe
supposed to
them.
pay them?
No, what she's saying is that we don't owe them financially because
Okay,
some
right.
parents feel like you have to pay them back. Now,
Okay,
I
okay,
do
yes.
agree with Kim about the respect and the gratitude. It is as our vessel, as the way we were born and brought into this world, just the fact that they brought us into this world, that there is mad gratitude for that. This is what I'm saying. I thank them for that. And my father can show you the text. If he goes back for years, you know, he'll see it. Me thanking him for being that part. That gratitude is huge for me. Because of them, I am here. I will forever, no matter what they did, no matter what relationship hiccups and issues we've had, that piece is critical, the respect and the gratitude. And I always tell people, you don't disrespect that person who God created to bring you in as a vessel. So listen, I could go church on that piece because there is one thing I never do, no matter how upset, how I feel, how hurt I feel. I will never disrespect my parents. Ever, 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 ever. I could be angry. I could be mad at their decisions. All of that. You will never get the disrespect. So absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up, Kim.
Thank you,
think that's important. Thank you. And then I want to switch back to Erica, who's on Facebook. And she's saying that it's important to mend the relationships. And I have two sides of the coins to that. I think the answer to that is yes. And I think the answer to that is that should not be forced. And I say that because a lot of times people will say you should forgive them and move on. But as we are not in each other's scenarios and situations, we don't know.
We don't know, right?
What we don't know.
And what that person have gone through and experienced.
Yes. And that imprint can be so hard, so hardcore, and so difficult for people. And so I encourage mending fences and I encourage healing from that. But I always tell people to do it on their own time. It's never a push. Now, I do recognize, Erica, that we never want to wait too long because life is not it's not
guaranteed. Right.
So I look at that on two sides of the coins. You see, here's the thing, guys. This relationship with parents conversation is a what is the word I'm looking for? It's complex.
Even with the whole disrespect, like I don't think I'll ever disrespect my parents no matter what. But then we're gonna have a disagreement, and then the Caribbean parents are gonna see my disagreement as being disrespectful. But I cannot. You and I don't think the same. You and I are in two different generations. Things have changed. I'm not doing anything out of the way. But you and I are not thinking the same way. So we are going to have this disagreement, you know. But these Caribbean parents, you know how they are. They're going to just, you know.
They're hardcore now. And I'm from the Caribbean. We're from the Caribbean. Caribbean parents are hardcore. And it's a generational thing where children were seen and not heard. And I don't believe in that, by the way. So that's just me. 100%. I refuse to ever agree to that concept of children are seen but not heard, because there are a lot of negative things that happen to children who are not heard. And therefore, if you if you grow up in an environment where you're only seen and you're not heard,
Mm-hmm.
you are susceptible to a lot of abuse,
Abuse. Correct.
susceptible to a lot
Mm-hmm.
of self-esteem and self-worth issues. And therefore, as much as our Caribbean parents are very hardcore and they take that stance about children are seen, and I'm not generalizing, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
Caribbean parents who don't
Mm-hmm. Do that. Yes. We don't.
complete,
Yeah.
but it is very important that we allow our children to have a voice. And my daughter has a voice. I had a cousin who made a comment that my daughter act like she's so grown. No, my daughter doesn't act like she's grown. My daughter has a voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I welcome her voice. She's not disrespectful with her voice, but she's here. She is girl. Hear her roar. And I want her
Yes.
to roar because
Yes.
I didn't get to roar. And because I didn't get to roar, I was sexually abused, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tell anybody. So I don't play those games about children are supposed to be seen and not heard.
Heard. Right.
I change that narrative. I flip it upside down and I'm done with that. That's one belief
Right.
that is out the door. Okay. So I get a little passionate about that. I'm actually even feeling my face getting red. Let me see what Ramel said. So on Facebook,
Okay.
Ramel says, I have opened the door for both my mother and father to walk through to build a relationship. Now it's their choice whether they do or don't. Every day I send them love and good energy. And I applaud you for that because that is what we have to do. We must open the door and give our good love and our good energy. And I always say, you go with love and light. And I don't say it just saying it. I send you off that way because that's the energy I want in my space, right? And I think you have some IG
yes.
comments.
So T Baby was saying, African parents do that too. And you're getting a round of applause from Petty Post. And Coco Simi, she was like, wow,
Well, because I'm speaking out because, I didn't have a voice for too stinking long. And if you're out there and you're a parent and you want to shut your child up, you're shutting them down for life until I found my voice. When I found my voice, y'all can't shut me up. There is no shutting me up because my voice is to heal and help others, share with people why it's important to have a voice, why it's important to give their children a voice. And it's no disrespect to the parents out there because some of them have done us so wrong, yet we learn how to become better people as we grow, and then we use that to then give back to the world, which is where I'm at this point. Ryan says, also, I'm realizing not to heal my relationship, parent, or any family member based on to get acceptance, approval, acknowledgement, etc., to make us complete and whole. That's true. That's not why you heal. You don't heal for that. Let's see. Tanisha, thank you for joining. She said, speak about it. Yes, sister, me and you know the importance of allowing a voice. And as a mother of 4 children, they are allowed to speak up. It is my responsibility to teach them when, where, and how. Amen.
Right, Tavia. Right.
Tavia, I applaud that. Exactly. As a parent, we teach our children when, where, and how. But we don't shut them down where they are so timid and afraid to speak that things happen to them that we will know about when they're adults. Imagine that, when the damage is already done. So thank you, Tavia. I applaud you, and I think that's awesome.
All right, I have another one from Kim. With that, though, there is a thin line between children nowadays. You give them an inch and they take a mile.
Absolutely.
And that goes back to Tavia. Tavia that says, when, where, and how. If you train up a child in the way he or she should grow, And when he's older, usually they don't depart. And if they do, they may come back. So,
Yes.
yes.
Well, look at cousin talking. You're going to make a great mom. And this is my little cousin without children. I love it. I love it so much. But you're right. I think, was that Kim that made that
Yes,
comment?
yes,
She's
she
so
did.
right, because I have an
Mhm.
11-year-old little girl who hear me roar, and I do have to pull her in. So don't get me wrong. I am in no way talking about allowing your children to be disrespectful. I believe that there is and always will be boundaries, right? And as we as adults still should have the respectful boundaries that we give to our parents, we should teach our children how to have that respectful boundary. So I understand, and I'm all about that. Thank you so much for sharing. There was a time, Ryan says, there was a time when I felt I had to seek out my father to be complete and whole, and think my healing will be complete within, based on knowing and having a relationship with me. My healing is not dependent if some choose to be in a relationship with me or not. And I agree with that 100%, because here's the thing, Ryan. Some people never find their parents. And the problem that lies there is, if you never find your parent, will you never be whole? And I think that you can, to your point, be whole with or without finding that parent. Tonisha says, Ryan, my father died on the 5th, which is, by the way, sending condolences again, my friend. She just lost her dad. My father died on the 5th, and I didn't speak to him for 3 years. And real talk, I attempted to heal, but it was his loss. So there it is. There it is.
All right. I have Coco Simi says what Ryan says. Ryan, I agree. I learned that early. And
Yes.
another one is, a lot of these people God used in the Bible started at a young age.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, Penny posted that.
Ministry and messages. I can tell you for sure that the messages that I get from my daughter, who is 11-year-old, and my son, who's 18. Now, my son is my stepson, so I didn't give birth to him, but I'm a mother to every child. That's how I look at it. And he is my son. He's been living with us since, with me and my husband, since he was 6. He is my child. Nobody can differentiate us if I don't say. And they bring me messages all the time, and sometimes some of the things that they say to me, I literally ask them, where did you get that? Because it is so profound and it's so divine that it is coming from a place bigger than me, and they are children. So knowing and understanding, to Tavia's point, the thin line that lies with when, where, and how, is really critical and really important in being parents to our children. It is also very important that, so Ryan sends love and peace to you, Tanisha. It is also very important that we let our kids know that we're not perfect, that parents allow their children to know that we make mistakes, that children know that we cry, so we know our emotions. Don't burden your children with your problems now. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying to, and I say this, do it age appropriately.
Yeah.
So don't burden them. Please don't have these poor kids, just overwhelmed because, they're worried about mommy or daddy. But they must learn and understand the different levels of emotions.
Right.
Because that's what life is truly about. If they only see the pretty side, when the ugly side comes, they're going to be thrown off.
Horribly. Let me not say, I don't know if I'm supposed to say it this way, but like a child that was given, everything in life, once his parents or her parents is gone, probably a tragic accident, it's going to be hard for them to survive because the only thing they have is money, and money doesn't answer all things. While there was somebody whose parents was, helping them, training them to, be a better person, to be a better human in the future. And should something happen, that person will be able to survive even on a little bit of money. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're giving them something to work with instead of things. You're giving them wisdom. The grandest things that I received from my grandparents, who raised me until I was 13 years old, almost 14, was the wisdom that they gave me. There are spoon feed too easy, definitely not good. So my grandparents gave me wisdom. They had no money. We grew up with little to nothing, and they made it happen. And that gratitude, you want to talk about gratitude. The person who was talking about gratitude, holy moly, cracker-roly. It's huge for my grandparents. But I'll say this, the wisdom that they imparted on me as a young girl, although I wasn't a speak out child because they came from a school of you are seen, not heard, I still held on to that wisdom, and I carry it with me today. I impart it. It helps me along my journey. I impart it to my children. I impart it to anybody who's open to it, because it was so profound and it was old school. You know what I'm saying? Tavia said, and I hope I'm saying your name right, boundaries and balances are important. Though we are worried about our children crossing those, shutting them up is never an option. As a parent, I can learn to forgive my children if they cross the line, but I'll never be able to forgive myself if, because of me, they kept quiet about a situation that ultimately destroyed them. Girl, you're giving me goosebumps. I complete 100%. Let me plug up my laptop before it goes. You're giving me goosebumps. That is everything. What
you should hear the voice behind the words. You'll get chills.
Listen, that is everything right there. Never shutting them up and having to learn later that you made such a big mistake that your child is hurting and will continue to hurt. Because trust me, although I am 49 years old, yeah, I know I may not look good. Although I'm 49 years old, it's been decades of work to move past the things that have hurt me. Do you understand? So that's powerful. Thank you for sharing that.
And before we move forward, I have Zandra, Diva Z. She came in late, and just listen to what she says. I agree. We have to also teach them how to deal with disappointments. Remember, we were talking about that earlier. They need to learn to deal with disappointment earlier.
She said,
from an early time. Sorry. Yes, as old people say, manners carry you through the world. That's facts. All right.
Absolutely.
And she said you look good.
Yeah, girl. Thank you. And I'm not even as spruced up as I, could be.
Usually.
But, we have to laugh. Another thing about this topic is it's very intense and it's very complex. And I said I was only going to talk for 30 minutes, but I told you, once I get going, I can't. Because it's so important that if I feel like I'm reaching anybody, for me to share. Ryan said, same to you. Know this, once you find who you truly are, then you become dangerous to others. Oh my gosh, that's powerful. And sometimes the door you have opened must be shut at some point. #healing. That is so true.
Man.
That is so true. That's very powerful. Very powerful. I am well. She said she was that child also, had to keep quiet, and then you stay quiet and you get hurt and all this thing happen. So, we're talking about a relationship with our parents, and it's a very tricky subject. And our relationship with our parents is also tied with our values and our belief system. And typically our values and our belief system comes from our parents, and that comes from their parents.
Right.
And it carries for generation. But I tend to say, yeah, girl, I'm 49. But I tend to say that, you know, this is my mantra, that I'm a rebel with a cause. And I'm a rebel with a cause, meaning I am on a mission to show people that just because that's the belief that you had for generations, if it's destructive, if it's corrosive, if it's no good, then we have to learn how to throw them out. And we have to learn how to replace those beliefs with positive things that is going to leave a legacy that is different than the legacy that we're playing with, or that we're, our premise, if you understand what I mean. So
right.
in no way, shape, or form is this a disrespect to the way we were raised, but there are times when you have to flip the script, change the narrative, throw out the stuff that is no longer serving us. And when you do that, then you find that you leave a better legacy for your children. Diva says, keep shining, Stacey. I pray the favor of God over as you continue to empower people. Thank you, thank you so much, my sister. I appreciate that. So, with 3 minutes left, although I said I was only going to talk for 30 minutes, I must say that it's really important that we understand that the people who God gave us as parents, that are vessels that brought us into this world, we must respect them. We must love them for what they have given us. And when they reject us, we must leave an open space for them with love and light. And that's the only way we can really carry on, because if we stay in a space where we're lacking love for them and forgiveness, then we might find ourselves forever in that space.
And toxic.
Want to be.
And we'll get sick. And all those negative things, we mentioned the other day about stress, about us getting sick, and doctors don't know what's wrong with us because we have all of these things bottled up. Just release it and go. As we mentioned earlier, we don't know what you've been through. We don't know your experience, but listen, for the love of yourself, you have to get past that.
Yes. And one of the ways to do that without even interacting, because some people don't interact with their parents because they can't, it hurts too much. So we have to be honest about all the different facets. That's why I'm saying that it's a very complex conversation. While some people don't interact because it hurts, other people don't interact because their parents are no longer living. Other people don't interact because they have been rejected by their parents. There's so many different layers to this subject. It could be a all-day conversation, because everybody comes with different pieces. But the most important takeaway that I would recommend is to embrace what that relationship is, good, bad, or indifferent, and be aware of it so you know how to handle yourself, the triggers and the feelings that come from that, whether or not you're able to communicate. When you forgive, there's a level of forgiveness called transformational forgiveness. Transformational forgiveness is the forgiveness that you do solely for yourself.
Right.
You do that level of forgiveness. You forgive yourself and others just so that you can grow and you can be successful and you can move to the next level.
Right.
It's called transformational forgiveness. You don't need the other person.
Let me write that down.
Oh, cousin, I'll send you the PDF. I will send you the PDF. I mean, there are different levels of forgiveness. And some people want the other person to apologize first. That's a conditional forgiveness.
Right.
And you may get that apology and it's not meaningful and it still hurts.
Right.
Some people want revenge. They're coming with the butcher knife, the machete, and everything else. And that's the only way they're going to forgive. That may still not serve you, because doing bad to others can never serve us. But you see that transformational forgiveness, the beauty in that is that we're not doing it for the person, we're doing it for ourselves and for our growth, for our success. So regardless of where you are, my last words, and then I'm going to ask Cousin to say her last words on this, regardless of where you are in your journey with the relationship you have with your parents, I implore you to find the relationship you have with yourself first and nurture that first. Build your understanding of self, and then you'll be able to really work with understanding your parents.
Right. Very good. Very good. Very good. I know we said 30 minutes and it's almost an hour. And Cousin Stacey, it's not your fault. We had a lot of interaction this week.
Yes, I know.
A lot. We normally have, but this week it was good. And my IG family, thank you for coming out and showing out and coming up. All right. So, we can cousin, we can ask them to come up with topics, right? What they want us to talk about, because great. I'm running out of ideas. Yes. All right, so if there's something that you want us to talk about, you can DM me or my cousin. I pinned her thing there, Stacey Henry-Carr on IG and Stacey Henry-Carr on Facebook. So go ahead and follow her. If you have a topic that you're interested in us talking about, go ahead and send those to us. So my few words before we go is happiness. I always say these things, but sometimes I don't even know I'm saying it. So one day, I don't know, I said to my husband, are you happy? And he was like, well, my wife told me that happiness is not defined by who's around me, but me. I was like, I said that? And he was like, yes. And I was like, okay. And so remember, you define who you are. Make yourself happy. Don't, despite what's going around, whatever your environment is, it doesn't determine you. I remember growing up, I always say this, your address, you wanted a job and you couldn't get that job because of where you live. So don't let your past determine your future.
I love it.
So I know it has nothing to do with the parents, but it does.
It actually does.
It does.
I tie that. If they think about that, they know where to find the root and how to connect that. Tavia, let me tell you about my skin. I have to send you my skincare regimen, but we'll do that later, girl.
Yes.
All right. Thank you guys so much. I respect your time. Thank you so much for joining us on Great Minds. We will be back next week. Please share with us topics that you want us to talk about so that we can serve you.
Right. And Zandra, Diva Z said, I'm working on that aspect of life. I don't know which one. If it's the relationship.
It's a relationship with herself.
Okay.
We're talking about, building that relationship with you and working on you.
Yes.
That's when she commented that, because there is nothing else that outweighs that. That is paramount. The relationship with yourself comes first. So we'll talk again. Have a great night, guys. Signing out.
Thank you. Have a great evening. Bye-bye. Thanks again for joining us.